Welcome to Beauty in Stories. This is a space where short, meaningful tales invite us to explore life's deep lessons and the beauty of emotions. Each story becomes a journey to listen, reflect, and rediscover values that are often overlooked in the busyness of life. Join us as we uncover inspiration, joy, and connection in these stories every day. And now, let's dive into today's story, The Last Leaf. In the shadowy, winding alleys of Greenwich Village, where streets meander like rivers lost in the mist, two young artists, Sue and Johnsy, shared a modest attic room atop a weathered three-story building. Their lives, simple yet vibrant, flowed in the serene stillness of their artistic dreams. Yet when November arrived, bringing with it the chilling breath of pneumonia, their world seemed to crumble. The disease, like a merciless herald of death, spread through the dim streets, creeping into corners and clinging to cold, unyielding beds. Johnsy, a delicate soul from the sunny lands of California, fell victim to its grasp. Like a fragile flower caught in a storm, she lay motionless on her iron bed, her gaze fixed on the Dutch-style window. Beyond it, pale winter light fell upon a gray brick wall where an ancient ivy vine clung stubbornly, its withered roots twisted and decayed. The vine's few remaining leaves trembled in the northern wind, the last remnants of its fleeting vitality, and they became the sole focus of Johnsy's fading spirit. One morning, the doctor arrived, his face heavy with unspoken truths. Standing in the narrow hallway, he turned to Sue, his voice deliberate and steady, as though fearing that any forceful note might shatter fragile hope.
"She is very weak,"
he said.
"Her chance of survival is 1 in 10. Yet, more than medicine, she needs a will to live. Tragically, she seems to have relinquished that entirely."
Sue, as if struck by a sudden blow, clung to the wall for support. She whispered, her voice breaking,
"But she dreams of painting the Bay of Naples someday."
The doctor shrugged, his tone resigned.
"A beautiful dream. But it holds no meaning unless she chooses to fight for it."
Sue returned to the dimly lit studio, where shadows of despair draped over the empty easel. She sat with her face buried in her hands, tears flowing freely as though they might wash away the helplessness engulfing her. Yet, as if compelled by an unseen force, she rose, wiped her face, and walked into Johnsy's room with her drawing tools. She whistled a cheerful tune, though the redness in her eyes betrayed her inner torment. Johnsy lay there, still as a forgotten doll, her gaze unwavering from the ivy vine outside. Sue set up her easel and feigned busyness, though her every glance was drawn toward her friend.
6,
Johnsy murmured. A pause.
5.
Sue turned to the window. Beyond it, the ivy vine stood bare, save for a few trembling leaves. She asked, her voice struggling to sound casual,
"What are you counting, Johnsy?" "The leaves,"
Johnsy replied, her voice light as a whispering breeze.
"When the last leaf falls, I will go with it."
Sue felt a cold hand gripping her heart. She blurted out,
"Don't say such things, Johnsy. Those ivy leaves have no power over your life."
Johnsy simply shook her head, her distant eyes seeming to peer beyond the physical world, into the void of her own soul. Desperate to cling to what little hope remained, Sue sought the help of Mr. Behrman, an elderly artist who lived below them. He was a peculiar figure, A man who had spent 40 years dreaming of creating a masterpiece but had never begun. When Sue told him of Johnsy's despair, he clenched his fists, his eyes flaring with indignation.
Ridiculous!
He roared.
What kind of person wishes to die because of falling leaves?
Yet beneath his fury lay a quiet resolve. That night, as a relentless storm lashed the city with rain and icy winds, Behrman climbed a ladder with trembling hands, clutching his brushes. Under the flickering light of a storm lantern, he worked tirelessly. The next morning, pale winter sunlight seeped through the curtains. Johnsy awoke and turned her gaze to the window. To her astonishment, the last ivy leaf remained. Despite the raging storm, it clung to the vine. Its edges yellowed with decay, but it centered defiantly green.
Sue?
Johnsy whispered, her voice quivering.
Perhaps I was wrong. That leaf, it stayed to tell me I shouldn't give up.
From that day, Johnsy began to recover. Her strength returned gradually, and her eyes no longer sought the vine but looked forward to life. Yet Sue soon received devastating news. Mr. Behrman had passed away from pneumonia. He had been found in his cold, damp room, his clothes soaked through, his shoes caked in mud. Beside him lay an easel, brushes, and a palette smeared with green and yellow paint. Sue sat by Johnsy's bed and softly said,
Johnsy, that last leaf isn't real. Mr. Behrman painted it the night the real one fell. It was his masterpiece, and he gave his life to create it, to save yours.
Johnsy sat motionless, tears streaming down her face. In that moment, she realized that life is never solely one's own. The last leaf, a testament to love and sacrifice, forever changed her heart. Reflection on the story. The Last Leaf is a profound tale of human connection, sacrifice, and the enduring power of hope. The Painted Leaf, crafted by Behrman's trembling hand, transcends art to become an eternal symbol of resilience and faith in life. Even in the darkest of times, a single small act, born of love and selflessness, can illuminate the path for another. Behrman, who spent his life waiting to create a masterpiece, left his greatest mark not on canvas but on the soul of another. The story closes not only with Johnsy's recovery but with the reaffirmation of the strength found in compassion and perseverance. It teaches us that hope need not be distant or grand, it can emerge from the simplest gestures, the quietest acts of care. Life, though fraught with challenges, becomes meaningful when we find purpose in love and selflessness. Moreover, the last leaf reminds us that our actions, however small, ripple through the lives of others in ways we may never imagine. Like that painted leaf, we too can be a source of inspiration, a beacon of hope for those in need, and a testament to the power of human kindness. Thank you for joining Beauty in Stories for today's tale. I hope these moments have brought you meaningful insights and inspiration. If you enjoyed the content, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications, so you won't miss any upcoming stories. See you in the next one.
Goodbye!